Assalamu alaikum. Continuing on with part
very
two.
incomprehensible, to be honest.
I understand.
So now this situation that happens because now you're back in your apartment. You didn't expect to be here, and it sounds like now we got some financial issues taking place.
Yeah.
And so what's the solution at this point?
It was crazy because when I prayed that night, he called me the next morning. And it was random. Like, I hadn't talked to him in a few weeks, and he would check in every time, but he just wasn't a priority. But he said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, just getting out of a relationship, and it didn't work out. Him and my oldest son didn't mesh well. And he said, "Well, I love your boys. You know, they're good boys. I mean, they're and the way I want to have kids. I haven't had any kids yet, and he's an older man. He was just like, here, just do what you want to do." And it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Do you feel like if you had enough money in your bank account to comfortably pay rent and other things, would you have made that decision?
Probably, yes.
Okay.
Probably, yes.
Because I know sometimes, when money's tight, that has a lot. Finances just have a lot to do with our decisions.
But I was making good money. And that's why I said I only needed like a little bit of time to stay. Even if I was to stay with a family member, I mean, it just would have been a little bit because I was making good money working for my family.
Got it.
So I knew I would have been able to find something. I just hadn't had to plan to move so quickly.
Yeah.
And I moved my stuff in, went to the hotel, and the day after we got married, we went home,
Wow.
started our lives.
And at that point, when you agreed to the marriage, if you could, give it on a scale to 1 to 10, how eager and excited were you to get married, and not to just get married to this particular gentleman, but just get married in general?
I was over the moon. I thought it was my fairy tale. It seemed
The fairy tale.
almost too good to be true. I just kept praising God.
Usually, when something is too good to be true, it usually is.
And for me and my children, and we were finally a family, I thought.
And at this time, when you decide to make the decision and you go about, informing your family, how did they receive that information?
They were shocked. I actually made my husband come ask my ex. I made him come ask my mother for my hand.
Wow.
That was a requirement for me to marry him to me. And he did so, and he was very respectful and just said, "I'll take wonderful care of your daughter. She'll never have to worry. And her sons, they're mine now." And he said all the right things. And my family was there when we got married. I mean, I think they were like a little hesitant because of how quickly. But he seemed like he really loved me and my sons.
Was that the first time that you've ever had a man to not only profess his love for you, but to also profess his love for your two boys at that time?
I would say that men always would try to be nice and, just because, but I felt like they wanted me. I'm going to be nice because I want her, not because it was genuine. I could tell he really wanted to be a dad.
Wow.
He really wanted to be a dad. And it just showed. It just showed. And everyone was so excited. He bought them all new toys. Picked out what beds do you want for them? Do you want to do their room? Whatever you want.
Also, he was
Wow.
very serious about getting everything set up.
That man had action. Action. That is something women respect.
When was the point that you started seeing some signs that things might not have been right with him?
Probably right away.
Honestly, early on, not even a month, some girl, his ex, was showing up at the doorstep, and she was like, "Well, he was supposed to be with me because we got married so fast."
Wait a minute. But she had said before that even before they got married, that she looked on his profile and saw that he was still, that he changed his profile picture or something like that. Like, this is before you even supposedly got married. You supposedly knew each other for 6 months, supposedly. That's a lie. You did not know that man for no 6 months. You only knew who for that moment that you were speaking to him, and that was it. And then all of a sudden he popped up in your life when he needed it, when you needed him the most. And then y'all got married the week later.
So, you know, I guess she was maybe hanging around, or I don't know. And she looked very, very, very young. But she was of legal age. I think she was 21, a few years younger than me. But she looked like a child.
Wow. So that was pretty much his type for the most part.
I told him, how can you be attracted to her? Because she doesn't have a body or anything. She looks so young. And he was just like, he wouldn't really say much. But I'm like, well, I guess she is an adult. It's not illegal. I guess it's not weird. But to me, it's odd.
Age?
Well, yeah, she told me how old she was. She just came. We talked for a little bit, and it was, yeah.
I mean, she shows up at the house.
Yeah, he wasn't there. She was sitting on the step when I pulled up at home.
That was the first red flag.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. And then did it get progressively worse, or did it get better after that?
He was very controlling very early on. I remember actually the day we got married, I started seeing how insecure he was. He always thought I was looking at other men, like just imagining it, it seemed. Or maybe not even imagining it, maybe just trying to scare me into not ever thinking about doing it. I don't know.
And this is a man who has already expressed that he wants to grow a family. He wants to have children outside of the 2 young boys you already have.
Yes.
How would you describe your sexual relationship?
With him?
Correct.
Vanilla? Normal? Seemed like a normal guy. He wasn't.
So nothing.
No, he just, like, I never would think that this man would do this stuff. He hit it so well.
Okay, I heard rumors that he SA'd her or graved her a few times early on. I don't know if those rumors are true, but that's just what I heard. So those could be just random people just talking.
Oh, even, if I saw him watching adult videos, it was grown women that look like me. I'm like, okay, well, I guess you're thinking about me. That's okay. Nothing.
Why would that be okay if he were looking at something like that? Isn't he supposed to be a Christian man? Or religious and all that? That's not okay for any married man to do. Because that shows signs of a problem right there.
Like that. Not at all. He already knows I don't play that because he knew,
And was there any level of aggression or anything that ever became violent towards yourself? Like, did he ever have any of that energy towards you?
He never put his hands on me like that. No. Okay. He never put his hands on me. He was not physically abusive to me, but he was sexually abusive. I guess that is physically abusive.
Okay.
But when he first, what people have to understand is marital, I don't even know how to say it, marital R word is never talked about. And it's a real thing. And I think I read it
Actually,
didn't
it has
even
been talked
become
about.
illegal until 1970 something.
Mm.
So you have to think he may have grown up. This is a normal part of life. You own your wife. And he would use scripture to manipulate me. You know, your body is not your own, it belongs to your husband, and, you know, that type of stuff too. And he would gaslight me. And I would be crying. Like, first it starts off, you think, oh, you know, he's just trying to have sex and I just don't want to. And it's like, you know, I'm telling him no. And, you know, you think he's playing at first. And it's like, no, I'm serious. And then it gets to the point where you're like, he's not stopping. And I'm like fighting him and crying, like, no, no. And it happened 4 times. But I remember the last time.
I guess this might have been something that she talked about in a group or something. But yeah, I guess that wasn't a rumor. That was the truth. So yeah, somebody heard that she. So how many red flags did you need? She started hurting you, treating you this way, and all other stuff, and you still stayed. And then you still think that he's no possible threat to your children. How does that work? He's already a threat to you.
Something in me said, don't fight and don't cry. Just lay there. He couldn't even finish. He just got off of me and just said, we're getting a divorce. And I realized that he was just attracted to the sadistic part of it.
Hold on, wait. So you used to fight him and cry, and you felt like that was what turned him on because
It was for sure. Because the last time it happened, when I just laid there, like I just had to be very quiet. Like I just knew just to lay there like a dead fish, basically. And he just couldn't even finish.
did you ever think to file a criminal report when that was happening, or did you just not want to do that because that was your husband?
It didn't even, it's hot. There was so much gaslighting.
And this further just proves that what her ex-husband's niece was saying on TikTok was correct. Because he filed divorce before all this stuff started happening. I mean, before all that, I guess the stuff with the kids was happening. I don't know. You just have to piece it together properly. But yeah.
Finish and then be like, babe, why are you crying? I thought you wanted it. And hold you and rub you, and I love you so much. The next day, you and the kids everybody's getting new clothes, and you know, and you're thinking, oh, my husband is a good guy, you know, he's not, you know, and
That's what they do. They hurt you, and they apologize, and the cycle continues. Like, see, that's why I say she should have had therapy beforehand, because what happened to her in her childhood. Or she should have been reading books or doing something, because when someone hurts you once like that, you should be looking out for signs. And she was just completely like, no, this is a internal issue that she has, that she need to deal with.
I am his wife. I mean, my body does belong to him, and it says in the Bible. So, what am I complaining about? But the last time, he never did it again because he knew that I knew that what it was about.
So, by the way, which were you his first wife?
I didn't even realize how many times that man had been married before I married him. I'm his fourth wife.
Oh, so he's been married 4 times. You didn't know that. But yeah, I thought you knew him so well enough to marry him and look so quickly and da 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 da. Like, come on now. You barely even knew the man. You married him after a week after getting back together with him. After what? You guys were seriously together the first time? Like, can't put this on the sprinkle lady because this isn't her fault.
Wow.
Did you know that before marriage?
No, his mom slipped up and told me.
She knew she wasn't supposed to tell you that.
I don't know. He had told me he was married 2 other times, but he said that the women cheated on him and whatever.
Did you find that out to be true? Did you ever speak to his ex-wives?
I spoke to one ex-wife, but she was so reluctant to even talk to me. I don't even know what he put her through because she.
Red flag. Right there. Like, come on now. Like, wow. Like, how you. The signs were there. The signs were there. She ignored all of them. Mm-mm.
It was just like when you called me, it took me back to a bad place. And I was like, oh, she just didn't share much.
Now,
Clearly, she dealt with some trauma. She been with some hard times with him. That was your sign. That was your sign. But she decided to go with it. Go marry him anyway. Or stay with him. Continue. So the hard, the difficult, the it wasn't that shoe that suffered it. She ended up being the student too. Because the decisions you decided to make as a mother.
amidst the abuse, you are still together. You're still growing a family. And now you are, if I'm not mistaken, 3 daughters in.
Well, I got pregnant with our first daughter 4 months into the
4 months into the
marriage.
marriage,
We
okay.
had been trying to conceive from the time that we got engaged. The time he put the ring on my finger, it was all right. You know, we knew we were getting married. So
Why are you telling all your stuff? So the moment the ring, you guys, you were engaged, started trying to conceive a child with him. Now you really knowing him. Like, really? That is crazy. Wow.
he was so excited. He was so excited.
You know, what I'm curious about is in this, it just seems. I mean, this is a lot. It's a lot. I can imagine. Were you happy in your marriage at all?
I was. There was good and bad, but we had a good friendship. And I think that was, one of the main things. We loved to watch movies together and spend time together, and we loved to, do things with the family, and I thought we
Delusional. Straight up delusional.
had a good life together, and it's not like we were not intimate. Like, we were always intimate. We had a normal marriage for the most part, other than him being controlling.
There's nothing normal about that. There's nothing normal about that. Stop trying to normalize abusive relationships. Stop trying to normalize it seem like it's normal and it's okay. Like, no, it's not. And that's not a normal relationship. She probably don't even know what a normal relationship is. Like I said before,
Very, very controlling. But to me, it was easy to comply because he gave us the world.
How long were you guys married?
Oh, so she's justified the way that he treated her by him providing for her and her kids. Make it make sense. Just no. You're gonna deal with all that harmful behavior because she buys you things. And it goes back to money yet again.
For 5 years.
Okay. And so when did you actually get into, because I think as a whole, me and Ryan, we have this, I know starting a YouTube channel is a whole nother situation. Because was that your full-time business as a wife? Like, was that what you were doing full-time, or did you have a job and your YouTube channel?
I stopped working shortly after we got married.
Okay, so you a housewife at this point.
Yeah, he paid all the bills. If I made any money from YouTube, it was
It was
I
all,
could
it was all
yeah,
yours.
I could get things for the kids. That's a lot of stuff I like to buy. But yeah, and he provided everything else. I mean, he didn't ask me for anything, and he was an amazing provider. Anything I wanted, he gave me.
And it all comes down to money again. Not about him being a provider. Him, buying stuff for them and da-da-da-da-da. It's all about money.
I want to address this too because I think it's important because you've touched the lives of a lot of ladies. And I'm just curious to know because, again, coming today who you are, even me and myself and Ryan, when life puts you through things, who you are now, 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, it changes.
Yeah.
Would you say that with your now today mind and who you've grown into and become and how you've seen life play out, is the advice that you gave to women, would you say that that was still sound for the most advice that you will stand on to this day, or do you think there's some things that you would
Absolutely
go?
not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you have kids, I honestly think that it's more safe to just try to have a relationship completely outside of your kids, if you can. That might look like you guys living in two different places, but, and this is maybe just be my trauma speaking.
Well, were you saying that if you're married to someone and you already have kids, you're saying that women should probably keep their kids 100%?
I'm saying more so if they're dating. When
they're
it gets into
dating.
marriage, that's different. But like dating and living with men and doing that, like you should just not. Just not. And I was lucky that I worked from home, but can you imagine, if that there's probably so many men just like, wait till she goes to work. And it's just sad.
Man.
I think what makes your story even more polarizing as it already is, with you recalling these events, is the content that you were putting out online, the self proclamation of being a trophy wife, and I think that's what has a lot of people stirred up all over the world at this point because millions of people have seen the video.
Well, when I created my platform, I wanted to redefine the term trophy wife into a woman that is the Proverbs 31 woman, which is my favorite verse in the Bible, and I believe that every woman should aspire to be. It's not just about how pretty you are. It's about, are you, being a good mom? What are your values? Are you choosing a man of values? And I thought that I
You don't even
was
know what value is.
talking about the right thing. And, I don't think it's bad for a woman to want a successful man.
First of all, you're just out of pocket entirely because you had never really been in a real healthy relationship from the get-go. And you automatically think that all of a sudden I have the right to give advice. I'm in the spot to give advice. Making it seem like she actually went to school or had some type of education in this field. Because initially when I learned about her, I was like trying to find her, what she's done for a living and all that, and I didn't see any education under her belt at all to be trying to give advice, because usually those who are counselors in some form or fashion, they have actually gone through college, and this thing have said not a thing about college or having any education whatsoever.
I'm never gonna say that a woman should just not care at all. How a man shows up, because the success is honestly a manifestation of different attributes within the man. It's just a manifestation of being a hard worker, persistent, faithful, all the things that success is a fruit of. So I still stand by that. But when it comes to dating as a single mom, luckily he didn't prey on his stepchildren. But what if he did?
You know what I want to do here? It's a blessing to say this, but Dr. Spirit actually did show up here backstage today. So one of the greatest, most world-renowned therapists is actually backstage to join us in this conversation.
3,300 people in the chat. The chat is going bananas right now. Dr. Spirit, thank you for joining us. Where's she at?
Absolutely,
Hey.
Ken Blano.
Hey,
Dr.
guys.
Spirit, what's
Hey.
up with you, Dr. Spirit? Everybody welcome.
Hey.
Drop a Dr. Spirit in the chat real quick.
I like that. Dr. Spirit got that set too. That's looking nice back there.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm working late at the office, so I couldn't come into the studio, but they told me that you needed me, so I'm here.
Absolutely.
Oh, listen, Dr. Spirit, I already know you one of the busiest therapists in the world. All right, so I am absolutely
heard of him.
It's
blessed.
a long day.
I know. Every day is probably a long day. But we have Isis Morales here, who has, one of
That's
the
not gonna
most
happen.
viral stories and testimonies right now on the internet, who came in here to join us. I know you like to come in absolutely blank because Dr. Spirit said, I don't want to know anything. I want to come in with a blank slate. I just want to come in and meet the young lady and talk to her. And the purpose, by the way, because I want you to be able to do what you do with ISIS, because this situation is not unique, unfortunately.
Okay.
So I would like you to give her the best counsel that you could, and also just in general, any other ladies that might be in this situation, how they can move forward and advance.
I think the best counsel she could have is off camera and one-to-one in a personal setting, not online for the world to see.
Might have experienced something similar, but in general, Dr. Spirit, I would like you to go ahead and take it from here.
Well, one of the things that I really want to ask, and I feel bad that I'm just jumping in because I'm sure you probably already shared this story with the audience, but what is it that you need from me tonight? How can I help you? I'm not familiar with your story. I'm not familiar with the viral moment. I'm not familiar with anything. And I'm meeting you for the first time where you are. And so as you think about where you are and what it is that you're going through in your life right now, how can somebody who does the work that I do, how can I serve you tonight?
I think that, I don't think, my therapist has definitely told me that I have post-traumatic stress disorder from these events. And I've kind of taken on a shape or this feeling of, I just never think that I can trust a man again because of, if my own children's father, their biological father, the man that, made them, would do this, then who can I trust? And I told a woman this the other day, and she said, that spirit that's been following you and your family, that generational curse, that spirit that's in charge of that generational curse, it doesn't want you to be married. And it hit home so much to me. And
I just think that they need to have some serious counseling and need to actually have go through relationship classes to learn about what a relationship's what a healthy relationship's supposed to look like, because I don't think they know what that is. Like I said, it starts with her getting the counseling she needs to deal with the traumas that she's had.
how do I heal? How do I heal?
Well, tell me, how have you decided that because
Well,
I
I'm
was in a
absent too.
relationship with one man who did unthinkable, unspeakable things to me, how have you decided that he is a representation of all men? And that somehow that now means that you could never trust another man when you're even sitting with two men being trustworthy tonight, sharing your story, and all the other people who are supporting you in the chat tonight? Tell me about this idea of I can never trust an entire gender ever again.
It's not about that I believe I can't. It's that I just don't know if I can take the chance. That's it. I just feel like I.
Well, you just took that chance being in the studio with two men. Right. Okay, that's enough for today.